Dani'el, Daniel chapter 5. Belshazzar the sovereign made a great feast for 1,000 of his great men, and drank wine in the presence of the 1,000. While tasting the wine, Belshazzar gave orders to bring the gold and silver vessels which his father Nebuchadnezzar had taken from the Hallel, which had been in Jerusalem, that the sovereign and his great men, his wives, and his concubines could drink from them. Then they brought the gold vessels that had been taken from the Hallel of the house of Eloah, which had been in Jerusalem, and the sovereign and his great men, his wives, and his concubines drank out of them. They drank wine and praised the mighty ones of gold and of silver, of bronze, of iron, of wood, and of stone. At that moment the fingers of a man's hand appeared and wrote opposite the lampstand on the plaster of the wall of the sovereign's palace. And the sovereign saw the part of the hand that wrote. Then the sovereign's color changed, and his thoughts alarmed him, so that the joints of his hips were loosened, and his knees knocked against each other. The sovereign called loudly to bring in the astrologers, the Chazdites, and the diviners. The sovereign spoke and said to the wise ones of Babel, "Whoever reads this writing and shows me its interpretation is robed in purple and has a chain of gold around his neck, and shall be the third ruler in the reign." So all the sovereign's wise ones came, but they were unable to read the writing or to make known its interpretation to the sovereign. Then sovereign Belshazzar was greatly alarmed, and his color changed, and his great men were puzzled. The sovereigness, because of the words of the sovereign and his great men, came to the banquet hall, and the sovereigness spoke and said, "O sovereign, live forever. Do not let your thoughts alarm you, nor let your color change. There is a man in your reign in whom is the Ruach of the Kodesh Elah, and in the days of your father, light and understanding and wisdom, like the wisdom of the mighty ones, were found in him. And sovereign Nebuchadnezzar, your father the sovereign, made him chief of the magicians, astrologers, Chazdites, and diviners, because in excellent spirit, knowledge, and understanding, interpreting dreams, and explaining riddles, and solving difficult problems were found in this Dani'el, whom the sovereign named Belteshazzar. Now let Dani'el be called, and let him show the interpretation." So Dani'el was brought in before the sovereign. The sovereign spoke and said to Dani'el, "Are you that Dani'el who is one of the sons of the exile from Yehuda, whom my father the sovereign brought from Yehuda? I have heard of you that the Ruach of Elah is in you, and that light and understanding and excellent wisdom are found in you. And the wise ones, the astrologers, have been brought in before me, that they should read this writing and make known to me its interpretation, but they were unable to show the interpretation of the word. And I myself have heard of you, that you are able to give interpretations and to solve difficult problems. Now, if you are able to read the writing and make known its interpretation to me, you are to be robed in purple, and have a chain of gold around your neck, and shall be the third ruler in the reign." Then Dani'el answered and said before the sovereign, "Let your gifts be for yourself, and give your rewards to another. Yet I shall read the writing to the sovereign, and make known the interpretation to him. O sovereign, the Most High Eloah gave Nebuchadnezzar your father a reign and greatness and esteem and honor, and because of the greatness which he gave him, all peoples, nations, and languages trembled and feared before him. Whomever he wanted he executed, and whomever he wanted he kept alive, and whomever he wanted he raised up, and whomever he wanted he made low. But when his heart was lifted up, and his spirit was so strong as to act proudly, he was put down from his throne of reign, and they took his esteem from him. Then he was driven from the sons of men, and his heart was made like the beasts, and his dwelling was with the wild donkeys. He was given grass to eat like oxen, and his body was wet with the dew of the Shamayim, till he knew that the Most High Eloah is ruler in the reign of men, and he appoints over it whomever he wants. And you, his son, Belshazzar, have not humbled your heart, although you knew all this, and you have lifted yourself up against the Adon of the Shamayim, And they brought before you the vessels of his house, and you and your great men, your wives and your concubines, have been drinking wine from them. And you have praised the mighty ones of silver and of gold, of bronze, of iron, of wood, and of stone, which neither see, nor hear, nor know. But the Eloah, who holds your breath in his hand, and owns all your ways, you have not made great. Then the part of the hand was sent from him, and this writing was inscribed. And this is the writing that was inscribed. Mene, Mene, Tekel, Uparsin. And this is the interpretation of each word. Mene, Eloah has numbered your reign and put an end to it. Tekel, you have been weighed on the scales and found lacking. Perez, your reign has been divided and given to the Madites and Parisians. Then Belshazzar gave orders, and they robed Dani'el in purple and put a chain of gold around his neck, and they proclaimed concerning him that he is the third ruler in the reign. In that night Belshazzar, sovereign of the Kasdites, was slain, and YHWH, the Madite, took over the reign, being about 62 years old.